At the beginning of the Abracadabra book for saxophone is a piece called Tickertape, and Tickertape is supposed to be swung. There's instruction that says 2 quavers equals your triplet feel, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But there's nowhere in the book that actually explains swing at this stage, so it's really up to the reader to want to apply it. Here is Tickertape swung. Etc. So what is going on here? If this was not swing, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but suddenly I've turned my quavers into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But what does that mean exactly? Now, the thing with swing is it's something you never really want to overthink. Swing is like a groove, and just like lots of music out there, a lot of us learn from imitation. It's mimicry. We're like parrots. We hear some music and we try and imitate it. We hear a style, we hear a player. We're trying to imitate the style to not only try and replicate what we're doing, but then make our own variations of it. However, swing, it's more of a contained version of an imitation. If you could imagine something like In the Mood, do ba do ba 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 da 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 da, that's your it's your swing rhythm, your classic 1940s big band era, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and da ga da ga da. If you took a nursery rhyme, say Incy Wincy Spider, Incy Wincy Spider climbed up the water spout, we've got again the same type of rhythm. What is this rhythm? This rhythm at its core is a long note and a short note. If we're to be more mathematical, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. Ta 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 ta. Where's the 2-to-1 ratio coming from? Ta 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 ta. To get more complicated, and this is why I say imitation is the best way to start off with swing. If we were to obviously make this complicated, these 2 quavers is a shorthand for a triplet. How does a triplet go? Pineapple, pineapple, elephant, elephant. Pick your equally spaced syllables. But ultimately, what is a triplet? It's 3 quavers in the space of 2 quavers. See, like I said, it's getting complicated. So you don't want to be really thinking about this at this stage. It's more like, what does swing sound like? Ta, 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 ta. So here's the basic. This is what swing is. It is a long and a short, and we're basically saying to ourselves, long, short, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and if you can count this to yourself, you're on the right track. So, for example, if we just took a single note, just a B, you're swinging. If you weren't swinging, you'd be doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're taking the 1 and 2 and turning into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So try and imitate that count. That's your first steps. Now sure, we can think, okay, 1 and a 2 and a ta ta, pineapple, pineapple, ta 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 ta. But in some ways that might be overthinking it. If you can get away with just on the beat is long, long, short, then you're well on your way to playing some swing. Now, in the context of Tickertape, we have 2 crotchets, ta, ta, and then we have these quavers, the shorthand, ta, 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 ta. There's a tie there. Let's ignore the tie. So we see 2 crotchets, 4 quavers, and then your minim. Now that is a key thing to trying to learn some swing music, is you don't want to let the ties and the slurs and all the fancy dynamics and articulation, you don't want to make it distract you from the core notes, which in this case is 2 crotchets and 4 quavers. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. 4 crotchets again. Crotchet, crotchet, 2, and 3, and 4. Or long, short, back to 1 again. So now with that tie in there, we've still got to hear that same rhythm in our head. So we can kind of pulse it out if we need to. 3, 4. hope this goes some way to explaining this request to go back to Tickertape and do the swing version. The last line. So maybe those last two bars require a bit of explaining. We have a minim and 4 quavers, but the counting is still just the same. 1, 2, now you swung quavers, 3 and 4 and 1. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, long, short, da 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 da. So the ties make it all look really, really complicated, but you strip those ties away and just concentrate on those core notes. That's your swing. And then the ties are really just the parts that tell you don't tongue there. So if worst comes to worst, just imitate me. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is just you hear something and mimic it. That might not work well in the long run because really you got to anchor that to a beat. So for example, let's say we're really ramping up the tempo. Like, and that swing really, really fast, but I've anchored it to this framework. What we're doing is it very slowly. 1, 2, and 3. So you can see why just getting the basics right is so important for then ramping something up that's going to sound, pretty cool. So, do I play it again? Maybe go a bit faster. And then it's Tickertape.